Hello, everyone. Welcome to Abnormal Investigations. I've got another encounter for you. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching and viewing our videos. We have been getting mass reported by another channel. In order to overcome that, I spoke with some people, and I need you all to smash the like button. The more times the like button is smashed, due to the percentage of likes compared to the number of views, we can get past that. So I would appreciate it if y'all would hit the like button on all of our videos. Before I start, I want to let everyone know before this occurrence my husband and I were agnostic. Well, it sent us on a new spiritual path. I definitely was changed. Due to my husband's job, we move every few years. This past move brought us into the historic Triangle in Virginia. We were here for about a year when we decided that a camping trip is what was in store for our family. C and I have instilled a love for nature in our boys, M and L, as well. So a weekend camping and fishing was a huge plus for them. When we camp, we typically do backwoods camping off the beaten path, where our phones hardly have signal and others are few and far between. We got to a place where the clearing was in a perfect spot to see all the stars, the moon, and the stream from just outside of the tent. As C and I went about making the fire and putting the tent up, M and L were unhappy as can be because they wanted to go climbing trees. So finally we decided to let them. So they went climbing the trees and throwing the tennis ball with our dogs. It was shaping up to be a typical camping trip. After supper, C and I decided s'mores were in order. I mean, what's a camping trip without them? After a little too much sugar, way too much sugar, a quick rinse of their faces and hands, L and M were put into the tent to start getting their sleeping bags out and getting ready for a good night story. The Shoemaker and the Elves was a story of choice for the night, as it is most nights. So I went into the tent to get them settled, telling them their story, with all funny voices included. I gave them a few snuggles, kisses, more snuggles, and our usual good night ritual. I told them I would be out by the fire with Dad. I got around and I told them all that I love you. And I headed out to see my husband. He was sitting in his camping chair drinking a beer and just looking out at the night completely relaxed. We started to make jokes occasionally, peeking in to see the boys and just enjoying our time out in nature. I recently have been working on myself. And with that, some great childhood memories have been popping up, and I was more than happy to share them with my boys and my husband. I was telling C a particularly funny memory that involved my grandpa when C said, "Hush," for a second. I thought, rude. Then I noticed it too. Everything went completely quiet, almost like the world had put on noise-canceling headphones. You could still hear the stream, but the volume went from a 6 to a 2. No crickets, no cicadas, no owl hoots, or even the bats. They all disappeared. I looked at C's wide-eyed, and he pointed to the tent and mouthed, "Get the boys. Get to the car." We both stood up and loaded every child, very sleepy and grumpy boys, into our car. Our dogs followed closely behind, cowering and then going into sentry mode with the boys in the car. Our dogs are very docile and sweet, so when this happened, we kicked it into high gear. C and I set out about putting out the fire and shoving everything we had into the trunk of my SUV. Very unorganized. We were just cramming. Still hearing the world muffled and quiet, we went to take down the tent when we heard our dogs growl. A noise that is completely foreign to them, and I looked at C. He had his hand on his holster, and I immediately turned to jump in the SUV to drive. We all were in the car. "See, what do you want to do about the tent? Something is out there, but leaving our stuff in the forest gives me a weird feeling, and plus, camping stuff is not that cheap." "Well, honey, what about we just put the seats down flat and we make it comfortable in here, and we all stay here. In the morning we'll pick up everything and then we'll head home. We should be safer in the car. It's probably just some foxes or big cats, so best to stay in here and let them do their thing." "Okay, see, I guess that's what we'll do. I don't like the face that the dogs are acting and making, but it gives me the creeps, but I guess we will try. We set about getting everyone as comfortable as we could in our SUV and drifted out of unconsciousness as best as we could. At around 2:30 or 3 in the morning, I was woken up by our pit mixing growls with barks. Standing over the boys, his teeth bared. He was ready to fight. I woke C up. Something is outside the car upsetting Ben, and I feel like I'm being watched. Let's just start the car and turn the headlights on. Maybe when you see it's just a fox or a big cat, you can go back to sleep. What we saw was not a big cat or a cute little fox. It was something from a different plane. I saw what I thought was a shadow of a tail. I relaxed and thought, yeah, it's a fox, until another look. The shadow looked like it was dripping black sludge. It was weird looking. I wiped my eyes and tossed on my glasses. C, am I really seeing this? I said, and C turned his head toward me, and he looked at me. Either that's the biggest fox I've ever seen, or that's some sort of nightmare we're having together. It's hard to describe what it was, but I will try. The drippy black sludge that nets together and seems to be moving. It was weird how it moved. It was taking different forms as it crossed across the trees and across the gravel. One moment it looked like an animal. The other, it was just a sludge of blackness. And then it was on all fours with a long tongue, peeking out like a snake every few seconds. His mouth, when open, were lined with these sharp yellowish teeth, and its eyes were beadily and completely white. No, that is definitely not a fox. We should probably leave. I don't like the fact it's sniffing where we just had our sleeping bags. Excuse me. The SUV brake lights illuminated Venom, and the days of camping were done for me. The sight of it taking its front claw and scratching across the side of the tent where we was just sleeping gave me the scariest feeling of all. C put the car in drive, and we started to drive away slowly, as to not draw the attention away from what it was doing. C said, I think it sees us moving the car. I said, right, and as I said that, it snapped its head and started to look right toward us. I think he sees us moving the car. And then it started running next to the car as we was trying to get out of there. By the time we hit the actual paved road, it was almost sunrise. I was so glad to see the first rays. As we drove out of the area, we noticed it was retreating back into the darkness of the woods. We haven't been back camping, and I don't plan on to either. Getting chased by something I think was a demon is what I would call it. But it took the forms of an animal many times, almost like a large wolf. Has anybody else ever experienced this? I have never really experienced anything like that. I've seen the wolf things and everything, but I've never seen the shadow that changes and everything. But I have heard a lot about it. Has anybody else in the chat heard anything like this? If you have, let us know. This is a kind of a new one on me, so I look forward to seeing what people seen. And yeah, I've never seen anything like that, but that had to be very scary. Thank you for listening, guys. Until next time, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. Please smash that like button, and we'll see you on the next one.